I guess we saved the best for the last. I was expecting a full house, but this will do. Thanks a lot for joining us. I know it's the last session of the show, rather, and I'm really happy that you guys could stay back. Let's get started. So, give me 1 second. This is not working yet. Oh, yeah. So let's jump into the agenda real quick. We'll start off with a quick introduction of Cvent, and then we'll talk about the state of the union for Turkey in terms of numbers, and then we'll move on to understanding what meeting planners are saying, decoding the planner's need, and last but not least, how can you succeed? I know I had a quick introduction, but again, my name is Singh. I work as a Director, Stratejik Accounts, and I've been with Cvent for a little over 14 and a half years now. So had a long journey, and I've kind of had the opportunity to work with hotels across Middle East, Africa, and Turkey, and I love coming down here. So let's get started without further ado. Talking about Cvent, we started back in 1999 as an event registration company. And over the years, we have developed a platform that's connecting meeting planners with suppliers. And what I mean by suppliers is hotels, convention centers like this, tourism boards, and convention bureaus. All come together at one place where they can do business in a more streamlined way. Now, when we talk about planners, that's the big number there. We have over 126,000 meeting planners who use our system. And they're spread across over 25,000 companies. Now, these meeting planners were responsible for sourcing over $16 billion worth MICE business, group business in 2023. And if you look at the trajectory, even in the worst years that we all saw, which was 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic, the sourcing was still happening. The meeting planners were still sending out inquiries, almost $9 billion worth business. That's the beauty of meeting and events. Considering the booking window, people are still sourcing for the future. And as you see the resurgence, 2023, $16 billion. This year, we're kind of very close to hitting our 2019 numbers. Now, some markets grew faster than the others. And fortunately, Turkey was one of the markets which recovered much faster as compared to some of the other destinations. So that's great news. Now, the meeting planners who were responsible to source this number come from different segments. So we have companies who are the power users, like third-party meeting planners like Hems Briscoe's, Conference Direct, American Express. These guys are the power users. But at the same time, we have corporates who are using us for sourcing. At the same time, we also invest heavily in something called incremental meeting planners. Now, this is a term that we coined. Basically, these are the meeting planners who are probably hosting 5 to 10 events in a year, and they're not normally at the trade shows like this, and it's very hard for hoteliers or even tourism boards to find them. And that's where Cvent comes in. Because of the economies of scale, we have a team in place who's literally reaching out to meeting planners, regardless of whether they do one event a year or 100, to get them to source, send out an inquiry through our platform. And you saw the numbers there. We're talking almost $18 billion this year that we can foresee. Now, if you're a hotelier, we have an array of tools that can help you not only drive more business by attracting it, convert those business, manage it more effectively, and drive revenue, and last but not least, measure the success of all your efforts. So all the things that you've invested in, be it to drive business, convert it, or manage it, what were the results? And that's how you can plan for 2025 and beyond. Right, that's the interesting one now. Now we'll talk numbers. So you'll see a lot of numbers coming in next few slides, so you got to stay with me. First of all, I wanted to congratulate everyone. Every year, we come up with the list of top meeting destinations in Middle East and Africa. And for the second year in a row, Istanbul was number 2 destination in the Middle East of Africa. So give everyone a round of applause here. And we're hoping, of course, right now the number 1 destination is Dubai in terms of numbers. I guess everyone guessed it by now. But you know, Istanbul's going strong, and you'll see these numbers because we're comparing last year to this year. And as you can see here, last year in the first 3 quarters, we had almost $59 million worth business that was sent to hotels in Turkey. Now those numbers were great, but like I said, we're continuously investing in growing that number. So if you look at this year, we have almost $78 million that's sourced already. And this data is for the first 3 quarters. So anything sent in October is not counted. So we're seeing a very strong growth. And this growth is not just in terms of value of the RFP. If you see the metrics at the bottom, look at the number of leads. That's growing strongly. Look at the number of meeting planners who are sourcing these inquiries. That's increasing too. And the room nights as well. So it's an overall growth in all segments that you can see. Now, that's an interesting one. And I had several conversations with the hoteliers. So if you're a hotel in the room, maybe we spoke. The business origin, if you look at where the meeting planners are based, it's made, through Cvent at least, it's majorly driven by international markets. As a matter of fact, this year, so far, 95% of the business that flew through Cvent network came from outside of Turkey. So domestic is strong, and I know you guys, of course, this is one of the great shows. I met a lot of local companies, but when it comes to international business, we're seeing the strong growth year on year. You saw the number already. So you can find all these planners, whether they're based in US, which is 52%, or they're based in Europe, UK, which is another 38%, you can find all of them in one centralized place. That's the beauty of platform. Because while you want to meet everyone face to face, you want to make sure you're using the platform that's used by meeting planners. That's how you get their business. Now, if you further drill down, what's interesting from a lead management perspective, and we're going to speak a bit more about it, while there was so much business pushed in to hotels in Turkey, there was a very high turndown. What I mean by turndown is you get an inquiry and you say, thanks, but no thanks. Either you're fully booked, or maybe the inquiry was not the right kind of inquiry for you. But what we do encourage is, in case you're fully booked, you offer alternate dates. Try to speak to the meeting planners, because what's challenging is once an inquiry comes through the system, it's not treated the same way as you would treat someone who meets you in person. It happens, but that's the thing we're trying to change, because everyone is going digital. And it's not people are going digital. Now with the AI coming in the picture, things are just going to move forward. And the later we are in the process, the tougher it's going to be to catch up. And like I said, for turndown, we'll speak a bit more as we progress, how crucial it is. What's also interesting is, when we spoke about the planners who are sourcing to Turkey, there was a very strong percentage of new planners. And what I mean by new planners, these are the planners who had never sent an inquiry to any venue in Turkey. And look at the number, 44%. Now, every RFP on an average at the source had an economic value of $126,000 US. That's correct. So these are serious planners who are now considering Turkey for their next meeting, Turkey for the next event. So that's why it's very crucial when we talk about responding to them, because if you turn it down, they're going to go at the next destination. Who's competing with you on that? And this is the future opportunity. So while the numbers we spoke about are the sourcing numbers, so these are the inquiries which were sent, but look at that. If you look at next year and beyond, there's a healthy funnel of over 80 million already sitting in the inbox of the hotels in Turkey. Now, what you do with it is entirely up to the person who's managing that business. Whether you make sure it stays with your hotel, you get the revenue, or they go to a different destination. Now we looked at the data, and I know there was a lot of numbers. Now, if you remember one of the slides I showed, the 126,000 meeting planners, when you have that kind of database, the obvious thing to do is get feedback to understand what are the things that are working for them, what are they expecting, not just from Cvent, but also the customers, the hoteliers, and kind of trying to understand and share that insights with you. So we come up with something called planner sourcing report at least twice a year, and we do regional cuts. So we pick up planners who are based in Middle East, Africa, Turkey, and we try to understand what are the expectations, what are the trends. And one of the common things that came up was, of course, before I get into that, most of the meeting planners use our platform because of the database we have. They don't have to go to different websites to find a venue. So if I am sitting in US and I want to send an inquiry to hotels in Turkey, I don't have to go to Hilton website, Marriott website, Intercon website, and send separate emails. I can go to one platform and send out that single inquiry to all the 4 or 5 hotels. So that's the reason meeting planners use us. Now, if you don't believe me, look at the numbers in terms of their search. And the clicker is playing up, but we'll get there. We're seeing over 20,000 searches happening on a daily basis. On an average, 5,500, 5,300 RFPs are getting sent daily. So that's daily numbers. But what's interesting is 95% of these inquiries are going to venues who are listed on page number 1 to page number 3. And that makes sense, right? Because when we do search on Google, how many times do we go past page number 2? I mean, most of us don't even go past page number 1. So planners are actually sending inquiries to venues who are in first 3 pages. So if you're not listed there, the chances of you getting that inquiry is like less than 5%. Now, this is what I was speaking about because I kind of digressed. So when we get feedback, one of the common things these meeting planners, and I'm talking about planners who are based in Middle East and Africa, 36% of them said that one of the key challenges they're facing is time management. And that makes sense, right? Because pandemic changed a lot of things. You know, everyone wants to do more with less. If you're sending an inquiry, while hotels and venues are struggling with staff still, there are a lot of new influx of people in the market. They're trying to do as much as, of course, work possible with less people. The planners' expectations are actually increased. They still want quick response, but they also want more comprehensive response. So it's very crucial, and we'll speak about the response metrics as we progress, how Turkey is doing in terms of responding to the inquiries. Oops. One of the other things, 55% of the meeting planners are actually expecting venues to have some sort of 3D rendering. So pictures and videos, while they're great, they're quite old school. Planners are no longer interested in how this room looks like. They're interested in how my event will look like on that particular day. So there are tools, and I already gave you a glimpse, which was the photorealistic 3D tool, where not only you can showcase your outdoor space in a form of 3D rendering, you can also do the same for your indoor space, and you can make it as personalized as possible. So this is a real-time ballroom of a hotel where you can literally tell the meeting planner, okay, this is how your event will look like on that day. Imagine one hotel or venue showing something like this versus the other who's sending some generic photos or a floor plan or even a video. This is way more personalized, and this came in the picture during pandemic because people couldn't travel, right? So they couldn't do site visits. So they were relying on technology to kind of get a feel of the venue, they get a feel of the event. And that's where the tools comes in so much handy. Whoops. All right, so, while if you're from the hospitality industry, there are a lot of expectations that come in already. We've all stayed in hotels. While you want great attendee experience, you want a good customer service, you want quick results, one of the latest additions to this is the technological adoption. So how quickly are you adopting to technology? And I always say this, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because eventually you're going to have to use technology because your customer is demanding it. Back in the day, meeting planners used to call hotels, call venues. So we used to respond through telephone. They moved to fax, you got to do it. They moved to emails, the same trend followed. And now they're using technology, they're using platforms. So you have to make sure you're adopting to that as well. Now, we understand being a hotelier is not easy. So if you're part of a hotel, we know it's a stressful job. There are so many unexpected things that happen, especially when we talk about market, and especially if we talk about Turkey market, there have always been ups and downs. So there are external factors that you cannot control. At the same time, you have the bosses who are still asking for profitability. So you can't stop that because of the external factors. And last but not least, the cost of operating. So you still have to, of course, make sure you're delivering the same kind of service with same kind of number of people and making sure the customers keep on coming back. So there's so much pressure, and we kind of understand it. Now, being a market leader, we wanted to share our 2 cents with you because, like I said, we deal with meeting planners day in and day out, and we wanted to share some of the key statistics with you and what we're seeing, where the industry is going, what meeting planners are expecting. Starting with the first one, you need to respond to an inquiry to win it, which basically means if you get a lead and you turn it down, that's gone business. So you have to make sure you're at least sending a proposal out. Now, the reason we emphasize on it so much is when I look at Turkey's bid rate, it's 52%, which means if there's 100 inquiries coming in to hotels in Turkey, only 52 are responded to with the proposal. The others are turned down. So all of a sudden, when you look at your funnel, it's not 100 inquiries, it's only 52, because you can only convert from those 52 leads. So it's very important to qualify business to understand that, okay, maybe the customer's dates are not available. Let me see if I can give them an alternate date. If first week of October doesn't work out, let me offer third week because I'm fully available, and I'll throw in an offer to make sure they at least consider me rather than just saying no. Then comes the next crucial one, which is the response time. And it's interesting because we looked at the data for the market and then we delve in deeper to see, okay, this is how many hours hotels are taking or venues are taking, but who's winning the business? How is it correlated to the confirmed leads? And you'll be surprised. And these are business hours, by the way. So as you can see, on an average, hotels are taking 13 and, well, roughly around 14 hours. And it's an 8-hour day, so we're saying a little less than 2 days. The first 3 responders are actually taking less than 5 hours. And guess the amount of business they're winning. Sorry, the clicker is a little sticky. 53%. So more than half the business is going to hotels, the venues who are the first 3 responders and who are responding less than 5 hours. Versus if you look at the whole country, we're talking 2 days. So while response time is not the only thing that'll help you win business, but it surely is an important one. Because like I said, I mean, one of the things that changed in the last 3-4 years is people want responses like yesterday. So before they even send you an inquiry, before they ask a question, they already wanted the answer. So the quicker you are, the better it is. Then comes the third one, which is understanding your business. And that's why I wanted to start with data. Because it's very crucial for you to know, if I'm getting a lead, where is the planner based out of? How many events do they do? More crucial one, how's your team managing those leads? What's your response time? How quickly are you responding to inquiries, and what's your bid rate? So there's so many things that you need to understand, because if you don't know your customer, if you don't know how your team is managing those customers, you're never going to be in business. That's the key challenge right now. So it's always crucial to kind of understand what kind of inquiries you're getting. Embracing software. Now, Cvent did the same. I mean, if we were to ask me, Aaron, back in 2015, that what are your services? 90% of the revenue Cvent used to generate was from marketing. But we understood that it's just not important to get a lead. It's also important to make the life easy of your customer while you work with them. So now we're almost 50-50. So 50% of our revenue comes from marketing, the other 50% from software. Because meeting planners are embracing software. They're using tools that are going to make their life easy. So if you're not doing it, you're going to lag behind. You got to make sure you're following your customer, if not staying ahead of the curve. Like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And last but not least, AI is not a buzzword anymore. Sorry, it's the clicker stuck again. Whoops. Yes, the last one. So AI is not a buzzword anymore. We're seeing it more and more in our day-to-day, right? And while, there's always questions about, oh, is it gonna take over our jobs? AI is here to stay, and it's here to make our lives easier. We are incorporating AI in our tools. Because guess what? Like I said, people want quick responses. They want easier ways of doing business, and AI does that for them. So if you're not embracing it, now is the time to do it. You don't want to be left behind. And before we close, I know I've been talking a lot, and we have tons of happy customers, but I wanted to just mention a couple of them who are using these tools and they've seen some great success. Of course, one of them is from Asia, but the other one, I'm sure everyone's familiar with this hotel, the Istanbul Intercontinental. They're one of our long-standing partners, and they've seen year-on-year success because they've stayed ahead of the curve. They've embraced online marketing. They've embraced software, technology, and AI to make sure they're successful. On that note, that's all from my end. Thanks a lot, everyone. I know there was a lot of numbers, there was a lot of information, but I'd be more than happy to have a one-on-one conversation if you have any questions. I think we're almost done for the day, so thank you. Thanks a lot for listening in. Cheers.
Aaron, thank you so much. No, please, I would like to have you here. I would like to thank you with the plaquette for sharing your time, this valuable times with you. Thank you for detailed information also. Hope you enjoyed. Şöyle gelirsek de bir tane, aynı zamanda da kameraya da birazcık öne gelebilirsek. Maybe you can come here and also with the video and with the photo.